Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. This is my weekly wrap up. So I usually film this on Fridays and then put it up on Saturday. My idea is to always have it like first thing on Saturday morning, but then something happens with the download, so it ends up coming up late Saturday. Well, this week I wasn't able to film on Friday, so I'm filming it on Saturday, but I think that's probably okay because I'll update it. I'll upload it pretty soon. It'll probably show up at the same time. But anyway, so we're here to talk about the week. So this has been quite a week. If you have been a commenter on my channel, you should have gotten some comments getting older and older and older. I have tried to catch up on comments to a point. At one point, I just had to say like a month old. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm too far behind. I had kind of a perfect storm going. So I did a video with the Book Cougars, which I got some new followers from, so welcome. There was my annoyed video, which then Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading weaponized, and that became a big thing. So thank you, Kelly. And then I had my 500 thing. I hit 500, so I get more followers that way. So I had a bunch of people come in at once, and I just kind of got behind, but I should be caught up now. So thank you for your patience. And I am going to try to stay on top of it. Sometimes it's just hard. And I am not complaining about anything that happened because it was all wonderful. I'm just saying perfect storm. As for the 500 Q&A, I am going to be filming it right after I film this one. So that will go up on Monday. I'm putting this up Saturday. That will go up on Monday. Let's see. So that's happening. This has been a quieter week. No, wait, this week I had a lot of appointments. That's right. I'm like, I don't even know what happened in my week. It's just that kind of thing. So my reading was a little curtailed, but not horribly so. My cat is pacing. She's been acting weird all morning. I was able to get some booktube prize books done, which I'm not talking about at this point. I am doing little vlogs, and then in April, I will put out a vlog of everything. It's not going to be an exciting vlog because it's basically just be clips of me talking. However, I was talking to Farah, does great vlogs. And I do think that when I go to Arizona at the end of next month, I will do a better vlog. It'll be more interesting, I promise. But this one's just me talking about the booktube prize books. But, you know, that takes up time for reading. I am down to my last 2 books though, so that's good. But I did finish some books. I'm not going to talk too much. This is going to be a shorter video because I do want to get it up. And my 500 Ask Me Anything video was going to be a longer video. And I do want to say, because I have so many new viewers, hello, welcome. Be sure to watch that video. I'm going to do a little bit more of an introduction to myself, and you'll know what I'm talking about and all that. So yes. So next week, before I get into the books that I finished and read and all that, I need to get on the right spreadsheet. Before I get to that, so next week on Monday, I will have my Ask Me Anything. On Tuesday will be my March TBR. Hopefully on Thursday will be my February book haul. And I say hopefully because I have some books I'm still waiting for. There was a couple or 4 bookshop incidences this month, just saying. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of books on that one. So, yeah. Anyhow, that's what's coming up on the vlog. So let me go through quickly. As I said, this is going to be a shorter video this week. What I read and what I am currently reading. So last week I finished 5 books, but 2 of them are booktube prize books. I'm only going to talk about the 3 that I finished that I can talk about. The first one was The Merry Wives of Windsor. I did a whole video on this. It'll be linked down below. I still have to watch my adaptation of this. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I did this as an immersive read. So I got an audiobook and I listened to the audiobook as I read it. And I'm very glad that I did that because that really worked for this. This is a comedy and, you know, humor changes over 400, 500 years. And sometimes if I'm just reading it, I'm not getting that things are supposed to be jokes. But if I listen to a performance and I get the intonation of their voices and all that, I'm like, oh, that's a joke. Okay, that's funny. So definitely, I think I'll probably continue to do immersive reads, at least of the comedies. Next month is Henry IV Part 1, and I am going to see how that works with an immersive read. The next book I finished was, Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie. So this is the major Christie crossover event book. So Agatha Christie we all know about Poirot and Marple, but she has some other detectives as well. She has Superintendent Battle, who has a few books. There's Parker Pine, there's Harley Quinn, not that Harley Quinn, the other Harley Quinn. There's Tommy and Tuppence. So there's Superintendent Battle, who has about 5 books. Secret of Chimneys and the Seven Dials, Mystery Opal, Superintendent Battle. There's also Colonel Race, who shows up in a couple books. He shows up in, I believe, The Man in the Brigand Suit and Death on the Nile. And then we have Ariadne Oliver, who starts showing up in books too. She doesn't have any of her own books. Ariadne Oliver is very interesting, by the way. She is Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie putting herself into the books. She's based very much on Agatha Christie. And if you saw the movie A Haunting in Venice, Ariadne Oliver in that movie has a monologue. She's played by Tina Fey, that has upset a lot of Christie fans because they say Ariadne Oliver would never say that. Which, kind of true. Ariadne Oliver wouldn't say that in the books, but Agatha Christie herself would say it. And Agatha Christie's Ariadne Oliver, so I actually think it's brilliant, not awful. But if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the crossover event. It is technically a Poirot novel. I will say it focuses mostly on, it's probably like Poirot and Battle, and then you have Ariadne Oliver and Colonel Race. So Poirot runs into this guy named Mr. Shaitana. Is that what his name is? Shaitana, who's kind of a weird guy, and they're talking, and Mr. Shaitana invites Poirot over to like an evening party. And at this party, he's going to invite other people. But among these other people are these 4 people who have killed someone. They're all murderers. And Poirot's supposed to figure something out about it. So Poirot's intrigued. Now, this whole thing sounds weird to me, but whatever. So he gets there, and there he meets Superintendent Battle and Colonel Race and Ariadne Oliver. This is the introduction of Ariadne Oliver. And Mr. Shaitana has Poirot, Race, Battle, and Ariadne Oliver go into another room. And then in the first room, these 4 people who supposedly all killed someone are playing a game of bridge, and Mr. Shaitana is in there with them. At some point during this game of bridge, someone murders Mr. Shaitana. And my question is, why is this happening? Like, you're in a room with murderers. You should have known you would be murdered. Whatever. But anyway, this happens. And at that point, it's left to the 4 detective-like characters to figure out who the murderer was among these 4 people. This is truly a locked room mystery. Locked room mysteries tend to be, the term locked room tends to be used synonymous with closed circle, and they aren't the same thing. This is actually a locked room mystery. A murder happened in a room. It had to be one of the people in the room. And so they kind of work together. These 4 characters all work together to figure out who did it. So I actually really enjoyed this. Once I got over the weirdness of why Mr. Shaitana is doing this, and it's not surprising that he turned up dead. Once I got past that, I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed watching the 4 detectives work together in the different ways they handled it. I enjoyed seeing sort of the psychological bits of going into the different characters. I thought I had this one figured out. I did not. This was a really smart mystery. I really enjoyed this one. Gave it an A. Yeah, it is the Christie crossover event. I would not say this is an entry point book for Christie. I would say if you're going to start Poirot, either start with Halloween Party, because someone has said, I've had people say they read Halloween Party first and they liked it. And I think if you read Halloween Party before you read any other Poirot, you'll probably like it. Or start with Mysterious Affair of Styles. This is definitely once you've gotten to know Poirot for a bit. But it was so smart. It is probably my favorite Poirot mystery over Murder of Roger Ackroyd, only because I was spoiled for the Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which was unfortunate, but this one is really good. So I read that. And then I finished the 5th book in the Commissario Brunetti series by Donna Leone, called Aqua Alta. So this series is set in Venice, and we follow a detective. He's a commissario, a detective of the Venetian police, as he solves murders. It's a typical setup. Now, Donna Leone is an American, And she lived in Venice for many, many years. And this is early in the series. She was still living in Venice at this point when she wrote these books. So she knows of what she speaks. I found this a really good mystery. It is a murder mystery. There's also some like artifact heist thing. I thought it's... I might say it's a little bit more of a thriller than a mystery because you kind of figure out pretty quickly what's going on, but that's not really the point of the book. The point of the book is how it's going to play out. And to me, that's more of a thriller than a mystery, and that's fine. There was this one weird part, and I don't know how to feel about it. So, as I said, Donna Leone is American. She was living in Venice. She's writing about Venetian characters, Italian Venetian characters. However, in this particular one, there is a character who plays a major part in the story who is American. And they would make, in the book, comments were made about the differences between Italians and Americans. And basically it was Italians couldn't understand why Americans were so honest. This is not what happens in the book, but this is very much in the vein of what I'm talking about. Let's say you go and you buy something that costs $5 and you pay for it with a $20 bill. And instead of for change, getting a $5 and a $10 bill, you get a $5 and a $100 bill. The idea of this is that Americans would go, oh, you made a mistake, give back the $100 bill and get the $10 bill back. Personally, I'm quickly losing faith in some of my fellow Americans, so I'm not sure that's true, but whatever. That's like what the idea of an American would do. But an Italian would be like, oh, hey, look, I got $100 and walk off. Like the idea of going to fix this would not be something that they would consider. And there's a couple points where this sort of comes up and the character's kind of like, oh, that's weird that Americans would do this. And so my question is Donna Leone saying something about Americans or is she saying something about Italians? Sort of passive aggressively. I don't know how to feel about any of this. And I have been thinking about that. I don't know how to feel. I do think that, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Should I be offended by this? Like on behalf of like Italians everywhere? I don't know. Should I just like think it's funny? I don't know how to feel about this. But anyway, it was a really good mystery. I did really enjoy this book. Fabulous sense of place. Fabulous. So, Aqua Alta. I do not speak Italian, but I took French in high school and I'm doing Spanish on Duolingo. And between those two languages, I have figured out that Aqua Alta means high water. And basically it's a point where the heavy rains come into Venice and the canals kind of flood up. And she does a lot of talk about the flooding that goes on in Venice. She really brings Venice to life. And I really appreciate that. Definitely if you want to do like a literary traveling, like travel through books, this is a great series to do that with. And, she tied it in really well with the story. So this was an A for me. It was written in 1996. Now, the third book in the series, I actually had to DNF, which was written in 1994, because of dated language around LGBTQ characters. Now, I understand that in 1994, like the height of tolerance was don't ask, don't tell. So totally different time. And I don't think that anything that she wrote there would be considered offensive in 1994, but it was offensive in 2023 when I tried to read it. And I was just like, I can't. And, I DNF'd that book. Now I was able to pick the series right back up in the fourth one and not feel like I missed anything. In this character, we do have, a same-sex couple, two women. And it's handled far better. Now there's a character who says characters say derogatory things about these two characters. And that's different than the narrative saying derogatory things, because when the characters say it, it reflects back on them, on the kind of characters that they are. But Donna Leone herself, as writing this, is actually very respectful. And I was really happy to see that evolution in just a matter of 2 books. So that was a good thing. So that is what I finished this week that I can tell you about. Let me tell you what I'm reading that I can tell you about. So my print books are all going to look really familiar. I am still working on Braiding Sweetgrass. I'm almost done. Lots of quotes and lots of things in here. Loving it. So my discussion for this is next Saturday. So I will probably, like in 2 weeks, maybe I can tell you what we kind of talked about, but I'm sure it's just going to be everybody loved it. I am looking forward to, as I said, I have an audio of this as well. At some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to go back again and listen to the audio because I've heard really good things about the audio. And then I am still working on for Historathon, a quarter one, a history of ancient Rome in 100 lives, just reading 5 lives a day. I do have to share this one part with you because I thought this was really funny. So he's talking about I Supplica, who was a teenaged poet, and he has some of her poetry in here translated. And let me read this clip. I love it. Remember, teenage poet. It's my bloody birthday, and I've got to spend it in the dreary countryside without Cerinthus. What's better than being in the city? So she's complaining that she can't be with her boyfriend. And I'm like, this is the most teenagers don't change. They don't change. I love that. That was like my favorite thing that I have read in this book so far. But it's really interesting because you get such a variety of people in this book. And if you remember when I was doing the book about ancient Rome, I had a little trouble because it was kind of set up like a short story collection, even though that's not what it was. This is not like that. Fred at Read by Fred read another book by this author that felt that some of the humor in that book was, he had a little trouble with some topics in that book being dealt with some level of humor, which I understand. I will say that is not an issue in this book, just the way it's written. So Fred, if you want to try another book by the author, try this one. And then I am almost done with my reread of The Beadworkers by Beth Piatote. This was a 5-star book for me when I read it, and it was a personal 5-star book, and it's still going to stay a 5-star book, but I'm going to emphasize that it is a personal 5-star book as I'm reading it the second time. I do think it's a really strong storybook, a really strong short story collection. But what really draws me to this book are a lot of the local color and the things that I can relate to because it's set in my area. I think it probably would have been an A or an A+ had I not been an Oregonian and read it. But it is still really good, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm going to discuss this with Sarah at Roadworthy at some point in the future when we finally schedule talking about that. And let's see. So that's what I have going in print that I can tell you about. In digital, after I finished on my ebook, after I finished Aqua Alta, I started Northwoods by Daniel Mason. I feel like I'm one of the cool kids. I'm reading a hot book when it's actually hot. I haven't gotten too far in it, but I'm liking it. Now, the idea of this is it's about a house and the different people who live through it. I actually, a few years ago, read a graphic novel with the same idea. It was a graphic novel with no words, but it was about a house, and you saw the house through time and people living in it. So this is not graphic. I am enjoying it. I can see how people might have issues with it, though. It is a bit experimental, which is fine. It's not experimental in that they don't use punctuation experimental, which I tend to have a problem with. It's just kind of the different voices you hear and the kind of book that it is experimental a little bit. It's not horrible. If you want to tiptoe into experimental books, this might be a good way of doing it. But I know some people have read it and said this is not what I thought it was, and I can see why they would feel that way. Still, I'm enjoying it. And then on audio, I am still listening to Mrs. Mohr is Missing. One of the booktube prize books that I finished this week was an audiobook, so now it's all Mrs. Mohr, and I will finish it in the next couple of days. I was hoping to have it finished by this update, but no such luck. So hopefully by next week, I will have finished that book. And then I'm not going to start another audio book for a while because the last booktube prize book I have is a big one. It's King A Life. And I have it from the library. I know it's a book I won't be able to renew. I may have to switch to audio on that one. So I'm kind of reserving that. I really don't like to have more than one audiobook going at a time, which is what I've had with these 2 books. So I'm not going to start another audio after I finish this until I know whether or not I'm going to have to switch to audio on that other one. So anyway, that is my week. It's under 20 minutes, which is amazing. Thank you all for your comments and everything, because this has been an amazing week, 2 weeks for me on BookTube. So thank you so much. And if you're new, welcome. Be sure to watch my Monday video because it'll introduce me more. Like, subscribe, join my Discord down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.